good piece of literature is universal and has the potential to be enjoyed by all. So while George's Marvellous Medicine would be considered a kid's book, it is equally a fun read for adults. This is a fun little story. It shows us that children can get their own back on adults who mistreat them. It shows us that people can only be pushed too far before they snap back. George didn't say a word. He felt quite trembly. He knew something tremendous had taken place that morning. For a few brief moments, he had touched with the very tips of his fingers the edge of a magic world. And this is the story of George and the marvelous medicine that he creates. And in the process, he does some good. Welcome to the Bookbibuli podcast. And we have Preksha with us today to discuss this lovely book. Hello, Preksha.
Hello, friends. I'm Preksha, and I'm in grade 3. I love to skate and draw in my free time. When it comes to reading, I must admit, nothing beats books by Roald Dahl. His books are filled with tales of adventure, mystery, bravery, magic, and fun. And this one is truly hilarious. In this book, an 8-year-old boy makes a magical medicine to get rid of his nasty grandma.
Okay, Preksha. Now, first and foremost, I would like you to tell us, how does George's marvelous medicine turn grandma into a living, breathing comedy act?
George's Marvellous Medicine turned grandma into a living, breathing comedy act because first George made a medicine using household items to teach grandma a lesson and make her less grumpy, but it did change her mood. However, the grandma became a giant and had to sleep in the barn with the other animals. Later, he makes another concoction with not exact same ingredients, and this time, when grandma drinks it, she becomes smaller and smaller and finally vanishes.
Let me ask you something else. If you had to give George's concoction a name, what hilarious label would you slap on the bottle?
I would name it as Hubbly Bubbly Medicine.
Now that's a very interesting name, yes. Now let's talk about George's marvelous medicine. The way he creates it. Don't try to copy it, kids. But nevertheless, when he created, there was a lot of chaos that starts when George administers his medicine to the farm animals. Tell us a little about that.
When George administers medicine number 1, all the farm animals become giants, which makes his dad very happy. Then later, when he administers medicine number 2 to the chicken, its legs grow very long. Again, when he tries to recreate the medicine to the animals, they become tiny, poor animals.
Yes, it has been funny, hasn't it? Well, Preksha, you have been part of our Bookbibuli family for some time now. I hope you've been having a good time.
Bookbibuli is my reading guide. They have exposed me to a lot of new books and I love to participate in their reading events.
That's so true. And thank you so much. You know, if you look at George's family, it's an ordinary, mundane family. And his chore is very simple. He just has to give his grandmother medicine. But this little mundane task becomes an uncontrollable fit of laughter. Would you like to elucidate on that?
George recreates his marvelous medicine in the hope that he may cure his selfish grandma of her nasty ways. While he was experimenting the various ingredients, he creates a magical concoction by which grandma first becomes a giant and later vanishes. George's father, Killy Cranky, thinks that they can solve all the problems with his medicine, as their medicine can make the farm animals giant and they can earn a lot of money. They try to recreate the said marvelous medicine, and the cranky household is changed forever.
Yes, the farm animals were becoming so funny. Just imagine, Preksha, if you had to sell and market George's marvelous medicine, how would you pitch its side-splitting effects to potential customers?
I would say if you want to live in the life of Alice in the Wonderland once, then try this brilliant medicine.
When I read this book, the effect that George's medicine had on Grandma had me in stitches. I was laughing and going totally crazy. The side effects were really, really funny. Especially, they are not only funny literally, they are also funny figuratively. What did you think about them?
George's marvelous medicine first converted Grandma into a giant, to which she said she felt terrific and she boasted she had magical powers. Later, when he tried to recreate the same medicine, it made Grandma shorter and shorter and ultimately vanish.
You know, Preksha, a lot of people say that reading is a solitary activity. You read on your own and you don't normally share. But I understand that you have read this book along with Magic of Novels. How has that experience been for you?
I'm not sure if I could have understood every bit of this fantastic book if I read it alone. Magic of Novels created an environment where I could ask questions and discuss, and it made me overall reading experience great. I had a great laugh with my peers as I read this novel in a group.
That's incredible. Now let's talk a little funny stuff. Just think if George's Marvelous Medicine had a social media account. What quirky hashtags would it use to describe its mischievous adventures?
I would use hashtag Grumpy Grandma, hashtag I am genius, hashtag Go Grandma Go.
Oh, well, you've hit the nail on the head. Thank you so much, Preksha, for being part of this wonderful episode.
Thank you, Bookbibuli, for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
So, there, George's grandma is a grumpy, selfish old woman. And the way she's described is pale brown teeth and a small puckered up mouth like a dog's bottom. Well, she's quite poisonous, and George is left to look after her one morning. It's just the chance he needs. He collects a variety of ingredients from around the family farm, including deodorant, shampoo, floor polish, horseradish sauce, gin, animal medicines, engine oil, and antifreeze. Also, brown paint to mimic the color of the original medicine. After cooking these ingredients in the kitchen, George gives it as medicine to his grandma, who grows as tall as a house, bursting through the roof. But Grandma doesn't believe that it is George who has made her so tall. He proves it by feeding the medicine to his father's chickens, which grow 10 times their original size. The funniest thing about this book is the dedication page. This book is for doctors everywhere, says Roald Dahl. Instead, I think this book should have come with a do not try at home warning. And now it's time for the Bookbibuli read record. A lot of people did not like the language of the book and also introducing the idea into a child's head to create a fatal concoction. Here, it is imperative to understand that children and adults don't view the world the same. George is a genius for the kids and a psychopath murderer in making for the adults. You can't figure that out, but it's a fun ride. It's a fun book, and it has to be taken in the correct perspective. The language is fun. You don't really have to read between the lines. The plot is simple, and the basic thing that you take away from that is that even small people have a voice, and they will fight back when cornered. The ideal books to read before this would be BFG, Danny the Champion of the World, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And the best book to be read after this would be Matilda. The ideal age would be 8 to 12 years. It's an excellent book and one should give it a shot. We shall see you again next weekend, and until then, better read, read better.